Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. The sister of Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, was about 11 years old at that time, but she was intelligent and understand things very well. She followed her brother very carefully and cleverly. The wife of the very high Pharaoh, Hazrat Asiyah, who was a very kind and pious woman, saw something flowing in the river. She ordered the soldiers to bring out the basket from the river, so the order was complied with. When she saw the baby lying inside, she found out the baby was beautiful. It was known that the baby was Israeli. The stumbling block had just come from the settlements where the Israelis lived. So the courtiers who greeted them went and told Pharaoh that there was an Israeli child. The one who was thrown into the river by his parents for fear of being killed should be killed, so that this child does not become our mortal enemy when he grows up. Allah Almighty had given such a lovely and charming face to Hazrat Musa A.S. that even the enemies, when they saw him, began to fall in love. Hazrat Asiyah told Pharaoh not to kill this child, but we will adopt him. He will be brought up in our neighborhood. He did not know that I am alone, but he will consider himself a member of our family. He will work for us instead of Israelis. Pharaoh obeyed what his queen said and did not kill Hazrat Musa A.S. In this way, Allah, by his special mercy, saved Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, from being killed and fulfilled his promise to the mother of Prophet Musa A.S. Look at the power of God. Forgive him who was the enemy of God. He took care of Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. Pharaoh claimed to be God and started a campaign to kill the newborn sons of Israelis to save his God and government. But he was unaware that he was raising a child in his palace, and on his lap he was about to grow up and destroy Pharaoh. Now we will tell you something about the upbringing of Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. In the days when people of large families in all of Arabia used to entrust their children to prayers at an early age, when the question of the upbringing of Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, arose, Pharaoh's wife, Hazrat Asiyah, ordered that all the sisters of the royal palace should be called, and it should be tried again and again that Prophet Moses A.S. did not drink anyone's milk. During that time, Hazrat Musa A.S.'s sister somehow managed to come to the palace. When she saw this, she asked Pharaoh's wife if she could tell her the address of a family where this boy could be raised in a very good way. He can be breastfed more easily than anyone, and he will be brought up with great love and compassion. By the order of Pharaoh's wife, Hazrat Musa A.S.'s mother was called. She took Musa A.S. with great love. Hazrat Musa A.S. filled his stomach with great enthusiasm, so the task of raising him was entrusted to his own mother. Thus, Allah returned Musa A.S. to his mother's bosom, so that her eyes would be cool and all her fears could be finished. What is the nature of the way in which God works? Pharaoh wanted to kill the boy who was born, but his own wife took that baby boy in her arms and gave him all the love and care. It is a true saying, whom Allah keeps, no frost can kill. In this way, Hazrat Musa A.S. was greatly benefited by his association with his parents, siblings and Israeli children. Love of Tawheed and hatred of Shirk was running in his blood, adorned with high morals. He learned to love human beings, to help the weak, to support the oppressed, and to hate the oppressors. Growing up like a prince in a royal palace, he had all the knowledge and skills to live in that time. and he also get acquainted with the methods and system of the government. He lived like princes, but he did not have arrogance like princes or eyes like them, but he was full of human sympathy, goodwill, and care for others. Hence, when Hazrat Musa A.S. reached at the age of adolescence, he became a handsome yet strong and mature young man. His intelligence was unmatchable. Every young and old person used to respect him. Hazrat Musa A.S. went to the area where the settlements of the children of Israel were. He also saw with his own eyes how cruel the government officials were to the Israelis. Their fault was that they did not believe in Pharaoh as a god, and that they did not consider him worthy of anything other than God. They did not consider anything other than Allah Almighty worthy. The second fault was that the pharaohs thought they were not the children of land of Egypt, although they were born there and grew up there. Seeing the people of this nation in the mill of oppression without any reason, the heart of Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, would be inwardly, but he did not consider it appropriate to speak out against them. But he used to take various measures to lighten the burden of hard work on Israelis. He explained to the government officials that due to continuous work, these people will become weak and their health will deteriorate and performance will erode to the detriment of the government. Hence, they should be given a leave once a week. This will ensure them staying healthy. With his God-given intelligence, he did many things that spread his good name all over the country. Pharaoh and his chiefs could not have imagined that the young man who had to understand their hands and arms would break their arms in the government, and he would overthrow their government and power, and who claimed to be their God. They were also completely unaware of this. Hazrat Musa A.S. used to go for a walk in the city, and one day he went for a walk when the streets were empty. What did he see in one place? There were two people who were fighting with each other. One was Israeli and the other was Qibti, means he was from Pharaoh's nation. The Israeli called Hazrat Musa A.S. for help. Hazrat Musa A.S. stepped up and punched the Qibti. As he punched the Qibti, he fell down, and within a few moments he died. Hazrat Musa A.S. punched the Qibti so the fight would stop, but he could not have ever imagined that the Qibti would die with a single punch. That's why he felt bad and got embarrassed. He asked Allah for help and forgiveness. Allah forgave him as He is the most merciful. Hazrat Musa A.S. realized and saw how grateful he was to Allah. He said he will never support the criminals. On that day he promised himself that he will abandon Pharaoh. Pharaoh's government was cruel. Pharaoh had every luxury for himself and his people, whereas the Israelis were deprived of the necessities of life. They were not even allowed to follow their religion. Hazrat Musa A.S. realized that he should not be a part of Pharaoh's cruelty. He said that it's my duty to overthrow such a cruel government. The news of the Qibti's assassination spread throughout the whole city. The people thought it must be some Israeli who killed that Qibti. The second day Hazrat Musa A.S. went into the city. He was afraid that the people would find out that he had killed the Qibti. He was walking with a heavy heart. That suddenly he again saw two people fighting, and one was the same Israeli because of whom Hazrat Musa A.S. killed the Qibti. He again asked Hazrat Musa A.S. for help. But Hazrat Musa A.S. yelled at him and said that you look like a person who always indulges into fights. Yesterday you were also fighting with a man. Now you are doing the same again. He went closer to him. The Israeli thought that now Hazrat Musa A.S. will punch him like he punched that Qibti yesterday. So he shouted, "Don't kill me like you killed that Qibti yesterday." As soon as the Israeli uttered these words, they were spread throughout the city, and government came to know who was behind the murder scene. Then people were sent to arrest Hazrat Musa A.S. But before anyone could reach Hazrat Musa A.S., a well-wisher informed Hazrat Musa A.S. to run away before you get arrested. I am your real well-wisher, and if you will not follow my advice, you will regret. As soon as Hazrat Musa A.S. heard this, he ran away from the city. Indeed, the reason of Hazrat Musa A.'s stay in Pharaoh's palace was fulfilled. He was well aware of the government policies and the official ways of management. He was brought up like a prince. He could talk to Pharaoh without hesitation. He was not afraid of Pharaoh and his officials. Now the second phase of Hazrat Musa A.'s life was started, and for that Pharaoh's palace was not a suitable place. That's why such circumstances had made so that Hazrat Musa A.S. would leave Egypt. This all happened because of Allah's order, as Allah wanted to change Hazrat Musa A.'s destiny.
شريك يا